I only met Hi about 4 years ago, and theater brought us together. There's a senior theater troupe in town, Viva, and the first time that we worked together, first time we were both involved with Viva, I think, we did a melodrama that was kind of a crazy melodrama. The actual actors had gotten sick, and all the stage people had to sit in to do the production.
That's a melodrama.
Yes, yes. And Hi played Ma. If you can imagine him in a skirt and boots and an apron and a hat. So that was when I knew this guy he doesn't have ego problems. So, and then the next year, Hi and I were teamed in a two-person show written by Dorothy Parker. If you know her work, there's nobody funnier than that. And they were two newlyweds. Well, we were a little old for that, but it worked because we were both newlyweds, actual newlyweds, in the time when she wrote that play, when newlyweds were shy and had had no previous experience. Now, Hi kept telling me he didn't know how to act, so we spent a lot of time in that room back there working on our lines. Our first production, first performance, we were sitting in front of the audience and had just gotten on the train. The newlyweds had gotten on the train to go to New York to have their honeymoon. And Hi picks up my hand and says, "Well, honey, what do you think we should do now?" Obviously, he'd forgotten his line. And I thought, oh, shit. But, you know, as I thought about that afterwards, I thought I'm going to kill him. Because I thought about it afterwards, it's the best thing he could have said because it allowed me to introduce the next topic in a perfectly natural way. So he's smart and funny, and he had a really lot of good stage presence, and I'm going to miss him.
Another one of the theater people, I'm Sandy Hale. And Hi came up to us after one of our performances at the Dairy Center. And he said, that was a good play, yeah, and I'd really like to do something with you. So we're always so eager to have people who want to do things with our theater group. So we welcomed Hi, and I don't know how many years ago that was, but he became a very energetic, active member of the theater group. He was much better at improv. I mean, it's hard for those of us who are older to learn lines, as you know, to remember lines. So we do a lot of ad-libbing stuff, whether it's on purpose or not. And one of the plays that Hi was in more recently, he was supposed to be a widowed man living in a retirement center. And the lines went something like, he said, "I've had the same wife." We always drew from our own life stories, of course. And he said, "I've had the same wife for 54 years, and suddenly here I am in this retirement place, and there's a lot of women here, but I don't know what to do." And so one of the other actors came up, the other woman, and she said, "You're a man?" He says, "Yes." And she says, you drive at night?" I said, "Yes." And a couple of other lines like that. So it ended with the woman, the other actor, blowing a whistle. "Hey girls," here's an eligible guy. And then each one of the women came up with something. One came up with tickets to the Broncos. Another one, "Oh, I have tickets to the opera." And then Joe stood up and said, "I have brisket." So I ran out after her. And go ahead. Come on up.
No, I can't walk. Eleanor and I have been a very devoted member of our walking group, Walkers on Wednesday, WOW. And, we have missed them for quite some time because all of us seem to be suffering from various kinds And it was very special to have Hi and Eleanor as a part of our group. And I think we should all give a cheer for Hi and for Eleanor too, because I think this is something where both of them are very much part of us. And so let's say
the walking group, and also the German-speaking group. We have a Kaffee Klatsch that we formed. Eleanor and I and Hetty formed it, I don't know how many years ago it was.
Right away.
But in the beginning, we had men in our group. And so we had two men, Hetty's husband, Walter, who was a native German speaker, and then we also had Hi. And I was always fascinated with Hi's German because it was so very fluent. It had quite a Yiddish accent on it, but there were no endings. And if you know German at all, you have to have endings. And I'm always watching my endings, and he had none. And he could say absolutely anything. And it was really fantastic. You know, so that was really a fun thing. The other thing was walking on Wednesdays. We're a very loving and huggy group. We hug each other all the time. And I didn't realize that Hi didn't like to hug. And so I'd run up and try to hug him, and I couldn't quite understand at first. So one day he took me and nearly squeezed the life out of me. And he wouldn't let go. I mean, the bones were cracking. And then from then on, it was like, Hi. But we definitely have missed him in the last years. He did a lot with reading. I think didn't he read on the radio for blind people? He did a lot of very nice things for people that we know about. And he is one of our members. And if anyone knows our hiking group, we're like family. And we really will miss him.
I'm with the Audio Information Network of Colorado, and I read with Hi for 5 years before I became staff. And people that know Hi understand that he really knows sports very well. I do not. He does. And we would read from newspaper content. And I remember, I'm a rote reader, and I remember reading Patrick R.O.Y. as Patrick R.O.Y. Roy. And Hi was very gracious through the whole process. And at the very end of our recording for that day, he said to me, "You might want to watch the sports on TV." Because it's Patrick Raw. Exactly. And I was mortified. I was mortified for at least a couple of years after that. But that was Hi, you know? That was Hi. And I tell that story a lot because it makes me laugh.
Information Network of Colorado as well. We changed the name, as the board of directors actually changed the name, what guys, about 3 or 4 years ago? And Hi refused to change the name. It was still Radio Reading Service of the Rockies, which was a perfectly good name. It's just that it wasn't our name anymore. And so we always had to write it out, make sure it was changed in the opening script. And Hi read on Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. And he started out with the Rocky Mountain News. And when the Rocky Mountain News no longer published, he was really loath to start on the Denver Post, but he did. He was a good soldier. But at the time when Eleanor, you and Hi had just moved to Boulder when Hi started volunteering for us. And at that time, I'm not sure, did we have any other than just all you as volunteers? And I'm trying to remember, but I did kind of everything at that time. I was the volunteer coordinator, and I got everybody on the air, and I did with training of the volunteer, all this kind of stuff. And I had met Hi and gotten him all signed in, got him going on everything, and he was wonderful. I mean, he was punctual, he was very reliable. About the second or third time he came in, I said, "Hi," and he says, "Hi." And I thought, oh boy. Here we go. But then we were talking one day, and I said, where are you? I know you're from the East Coast, but where are you from on the East Coast? He says, hey, how the hell did you know I was from the East Coast? So, you know, that was all the way it went all the time. But he read for us up until just about a year ago. Just about a year ago. He was so generous and he was so wonderful to have around. He was a trooper. And I remember always with great fondness when he and Eleanor would take their trips to England to see their kids and to see the grandkids, and we always got the great stories after they came back. And it's wonderful to have known Hy, to have had him in our lives. He was so good and so kind to us, and as blind people, he just went right along with everything. It wasn't a big deal. He'd come in, he'd do his reading, and just treated everybody very naturally, very ordinary. And that's the way blind people really kind of like to fit in. Don't want to be weird and standing out all the time. And it wasn't that way with Hy. It was just everybody was just treated equally, and except for Kat.
Yes.
She got in trouble over Patrick Roy, and he never let her forget it. So, but we miss Hy very much, and Eleanor, it sure is nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm hugely impressed by the number of groups of such different approach, whether it's speaking to the blind, whether it's all of these different things we've heard. Now, I'd be interested to know how many different organizations or groups or gatherings that Hy and Eleanor have participated in, because I think that's a
I
marvelous
think it
tribute.
was free.
Coffee club too, right? No?
No, I think it was the Viva group, the walking group, and the radio volunteering. And I mean, whatever else you did, I didn't know about.